do some more winter sowing. I'm going to use these peat pots for some tomato seeds that we're going to go ahead and plant, and then we're going to put it in a bucket and put a lid up on them to create a greenhouse effect. That way when they come up in the spring, they can just be directly transplanted into buckets or into a raised bed. The first thing you're going to want to do is take some potting mix and mix it up with water to rehydrate it. I do have a video on winter sowing, on how to winter sow, and I will link that below so you can get an idea of how to mix your potting mix with water. I'm going to put 2 tomatoes in each of these pots, and that way when they come up in the spring I can separate them, but I'm only going to put 1 seed in each hole. The next thing you're going to want to do is put all of your peat pots into a bucket that has holes in the bottom for drainage. Don't forget to water your seeds in. These are going to freeze outside because it is still wintertime and it's still snowing. And what this does, it's going to go out here and it's going to freeze this water. So when spring comes and things start to warm up a little bit, the water is going to thaw and create a self-watering kind of effect. And the bucket on top is going to create a greenhouse effect, so it should stay good and moist. Once you have your seeds planted, go ahead and mark it. If you have plant markers, you can use those. I'm just going to use some white duct tape on the inside so that when I open up the lid when they're growing, I can just look in here and see what they are, and hopefully it won't fade because of moisture. The last step is to put another bucket on top so it creates a greenhouse effect. If you'll notice, the top buckets will always have holes, drainage holes in them, just like the bottom buckets do, and that's because when the snow piles on this winter and as it melts, when the warmer weather comes, then the snow is going to melt in there, creating a kind of a rain or a moisture type of effect. So that way the plants, as they're thawing out in there and their water in there is thawing, it's still going to get water also from the top. And later on this spring we will go ahead and stick a little camera in there and see how they're doing. Next we're going to do mortgage lifter tomatoes. If you don't know the story behind the mortgage lifter tomato, you could do a search for it. It's really, really fascinating how this gentleman, I'm not sure exactly how the story goes, but this gentleman was behind on his bills or his tax payments on his property or something back in the Depression era. And in order to pay off that debt, he bred these tomatoes, and they're enormous. And he sold those tomatoes and he paid off his debt, or paid off his mortgage, or paid off whatever it was he was paying off. So that's how prolific and big these tomatoes get. The last kind we're going to plant today is a nice, standard, reliable Rutgers tomato. The thing I like about growing things from seed is that usually if you buy plants, you're at the mercy of what the store is selling. Sometimes you can find a nice nursery that has some additional varieties, but seeds, man, the door is wide open for you. You can try varieties that you would not get at the store. You can try varieties that you may or may not get at a nice greenhouse, and that's always fun, is to try some new things. Definitely items that you won't see in your grocery store. Could even be that you wouldn't even see them at a farmer's market. So go ahead and grab some seeds this year. Even if you're late to this video and winter sowing is out for you, try to grow some other things from seed and you'll see that your variety is pretty much endless.